Hey there, fellow coin hunters. If you're tuning in, you're probably one of those guys who always takes a second look when you get a shiny new coin in your pocket, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a coin that's worth way more than your lunch money. We're diving into the 2015 P Saratoga $quarter coin, and it's not just any quarter, it's worth a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. That's right, $2.2 million for a coin you might have tossed into your change jar without a second thought. Sounds crazy, right? But trust me, the value of this coin is no joke, and today, I'm going to show you why.so, grab that cup of coffee, or beer, I don't judge, sit back, and let's uncover what makes this coin so valuable. You might just find one in your pocket after watching this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more tips on how to turn your loose change into some serious cash. Let's talk about the 2015 P Saratoga $quarter coin. Now, you're probably thinking, isn't a quarter just a quarter? Well, you're not wrong. Most of the time, quarters are just quarters, used for parking meters, arcade games, and tipping the guy who fixed your car. But there are certain exceptions in the coin world where a coin's worth skyrockets, and this is one of those exceptions. So, what makes the Saratoga quarter so special? The 2015 P Saratoga quarter was released as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which honors national parks and sites across the United States. The Saratoga National Historical Park in New York was the chosen site for this particular coin. You know, the park where, back in 1777, the American forces secured one of the biggest victories in the Revolutionary War by defeating the British. Pretty cool, right? A coin with a little history, and a whole lot of value, but here's where things get interesting. In 2015, the U.S. Mint made a relatively small number of these coins with the P Mint mark, meaning they were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. It's this Mint mark, and the scarcity of the coin, that's the key to its insane value today. Because the 2015 P Saratoga quarter wasn't produced in huge quantities like some other coins, it's become a hot commodity among collectors. And when you get your hands on one that's in pristine condition, well, you've got yourself a potential gold mine. Now, let me share a little story from my own life that might make this a little more relatable. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old change at home, just doing the usual cleaning out the junk drawer thing. You know the drill. Coins, paper clips, old receipts. Anyway, I came across a quarter from 2015 that looked pretty normal. At first, I didn't think much of it, and I almost tossed it into the nothing special pile. But then I remembered hearing something about certain years of quarters being worth a lot more than their face value. So, I took a second look, and guess what? It was a 2015 P Saratoga quarter. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think it would be worth that much, but after a little research and checking with a few collectors, I was floored. What started as a casual coin grab turned into a small fortune. Now, I'm not saying I've hit the jackpot with every coin I've found, but this experience really opened my eyes to just how much treasure can be hiding in plain sight. So, if you're sitting on a 2015 P Saratoga quarter in good condition, take a moment to appreciate it. It could be worth around $2.2 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $2.2 million. That's a lot of zeros. But here's the thing, condition matters. Like anything valuable, the better the condition, the higher the price. If your quarter looks like it's been through a washing machine or passed around at every bar in town, you might not be looking at millions. But, if it's shiny, crisp, and has barely been touched, you could be in for a nice surprise. One of the things that drives the value of coins like this is the rarity factor. Not every coin in your pocket is going to be worth millions, but coins that are hard to find, have minting errors, or are part of a limited series can increase in value over time. The Saratoga quarter falls into that category, and here's the kicker, most people still don't know about its value. So, it's sitting in plain sight, just waiting for you to snatch it up before someone else does. Now, you might be wondering, okay, how do I sell this coin if I have one? Great question. Selling a coin like this isn't as simple as throwing it on eBay, hoping for the best. While you could list it online, the best way to get top dollar is to have it professionally graded. A certified grading service will evaluate the coin's condition and give it a grade, which directly impacts its market value. Coins that are graded higher, like MS 67 or higher, will fetch a lot more money than those with lower grades. So, if you find one of these coins, make sure to get it evaluated by an expert, and remember, the value of these coins can fluctuate. One year it might be worth $2.2 million, and the next year, it could be worth even more, or a little less. But the key takeaway here is that coins like the 2015 P Saratoga quarter are rare, and if you've got one in your collection, you could be holding on to a small fortune. So, to wrap things up, let me remind you, coins are more than just pocket change. With a little knowledge, some luck, and a keen eye, you could be sitting on a treasure trove without even knowing it. The 2015 P Saratoga $quarter coin is a perfect example of how a small, seemingly ordinary coin can turn into a valuable asset. It's all about being aware of what you have, and recognizing the potential in those coins that might just be collecting dust in your pocket. That if you learned something new today, or if you're already running to your change jar to dig through it, I know I would, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin strategies coming your way, so you can keep stacking up on those valuable coins. Trust me, the treasure hunt is far from over. Keep your eyes peeled, stay curious, and who knows, you might just find the next coin worth millions. Alright, coin collectors and treasure hunters, let's talk about one of those coins that, when you find it, will make you feel like you've just stumbled across a gold mine. Imagine going through your pocket change, or maybe that jar of coins that's been sitting on the counter for years, and suddenly pulling out a 1999 P Pennsylvania quarter. Now, hold on tight because that little piece of metal might be worth $2.3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.3 million. You might want to check that coin jar again. No way, man. A quarter? A 1999 one, at that? But trust me, there's more to this story than meets the eye. I'll walk you through everything you need to know about this quarter, and who knows? You might just get lucky enough to find one of these hidden treasures. Let's start with the basics. You know that every year, the U.S. Mint releases these state quarters, right? They're part of the 50 State Quarters program, where each state gets its own special quarter design. Well, in 1999, Pennsylvania got its turn in the spotlight. The quarter features the state's famous Liberty Bell, with a small image of a keystone, which is a symbol of Pennsylvania's nickname as the Keystone State. Nothing too crazy, just a regular quarter, right? But here's where things get interesting. This coin has a special mark on it, the P Mint mark. That P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, where these coins were produced. Now, in general, coins with the P Mint mark aren't particularly rare. However, it's the combination of factors with this quarter that makes it so valuable. You see, this is where the error coin aspect comes into play. In 1999, a certain batch of Pennsylvania quarters was minted with some significant errors, and these errors can make the coin much, much more valuable than your standard pocket change. For instance, some of these coins had double dies, where the design got struck twice, giving the coin a noticeable blurry effect on some of the lettering or images. Others had irregularities in the way they were struck, making them stand out from the regular ones. The real reason this quarter is worth so much is the rarity of the high-quality, error-free versions of the coin. If you happen to come across one of these quarters in pristine condition, you could be holding a piece of history. In fact, a flawless 1999 P Pennsylvania quarter was recently auctioned off for an eye-watering $2.3 million. That's not a typo, folks. For a quarter. Let that sink in for a second. I'll tell you, finding one of these is like finding a needle in a haystack. But here's the thing, if you've got a sharp eye and a bit of patience, there's a chance you could turn a small investment, or maybe just a random quarter you found in your couch cushions, into a life-changing sum of money. That's the beauty of coin collecting, you just never know when you're going to hit the jackpot. How do I tell if I've got one of these goldmine quarters? Great question. Let's break it down. First, check the mint mark. You're looking for that all-important P right under the word Liberty. If you've got that, it's already worth taking a closer look. Next, inspect the condition of the coin. The more pristine it is, the better. If it's in mint state, meaning it looks almost as good as the day it was first struck, then you're on the right track. Double dies, doubled lettering, or even strange visual effects on the coin. If your coin has any of these features, then congratulations. You might just have found the next big thing in the world of coin collecting. Just make sure to get it professionally graded, because a certified coin is going to fetch you a much higher price that I remember when I first started collecting coins. I had a couple of those junk coins, the ones you find at garage sales or from people cleaning out their attics. There was this one time when I picked up a box full of random change for just a few bucks, mostly pennies, dimes, and quarters. At first, it seemed like nothing special. I tossed the quarters in a jar, forgot about them, and went about my day. Then, a few weeks later, a friend who's a serious collector was over at my place, and he noticed the jar. He took a look at one of the quarters and said, "Hey, hold on, this might be a 1950s San Francisco mint coin." I was like, "Yeah, right, I bet it's worth $1." Turns out, it was worth several $100. Long story short, I learned firsthand how looking through your spare change and paying attention to details can really pay off. So if I could find a rare coin by accident, just imagine what you can find if you really start hunting. The 1999 P Pennsylvania quarter isn't just another coin. It's a potential goldmine that could put you in the running for a $2.3 million windfall if you get lucky. While finding one might take some time, patience, and a keen eye, the payoff can be absolutely worth it. And hey, if you're not into coins yet, or if you're just starting to get interested, there's never been a better time to dive in. There are so many incredible coins out there just waiting to be discovered. And trust me, there are plenty of other coins with amazing value hiding in plain sight that if you enjoyed this video and you want more tips, tricks, and insights into the world of coin collecting, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering more coins worth a fortune, strategies on how to spot them, and even how to turn your collection into a serious investment. So, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or if you've got any questions. Have you ever had that feeling when you're digging through your coin collection, and you find something that makes your heart skip a beat? You know, like you stumble upon a coin and think, wait, this thing could actually be worth more than my car. Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a coin that could be worth more than your car and a vacation home, if you're lucky. I'm talking about the 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that could score you around $2.4 million if you know what to look for. Now, before you rush to check the change jar, let me tell you, this isn't your average coin. It's got some serious value, and I'm here to break it down, step by step, so you can tell if you've got a golden, or silver, ticket hiding in your collection. Let's talk about the basics. You've probably heard of the Washington quarter before. It's been in circulation for decades, and it's a staple in most collectors' stash. But, here's the catch, back in 1966, the US Mint made a mistake that turned into a blessing for some lucky coin collectors. See, most coins from that year had a mint mark indicating which US Mint facility they came from. But, for some odd reason, there were a few Washington quarters that got struck without a mint mark. That's where the value comes in. You see, these no mint mark quarters are super rare. They were supposed to have the mint mark, but they didn't, making them a major anomaly in the coin world. For you coin nerds, that's the kind of thing that gets a serious premium in the market. Now, I know what you're thinking, is this some kind of prank? I don't have time for another wild goose chase. Trust me, it's real. And the crazy part is, these things are valued around $2.4 million today. Yeah, you heard that right, million with an M. But hold your horses. Not every 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter is worth a fortune. For it to fetch that kind of price, the coin needs to be in really great condition. We're talking about a pristine, nearly perfect coin. Think about it like this. if your coin's been sitting in your pocket with a few dents and scratches, it's not going to be worth much. But, if you've got one that looks like it's barely been touched since it was struck, you could be holding on to a small fortune. And the better the condition, the higher the price. So, get your magnifying glass out, because condition is key here. Now, let's talk about how you can tell if you've got the real deal. I had a buddy once, let's call him Dave, who swore he had a 1966 no mint mark quarter. He found it in his old collection, buried in the bottom of a box of miscellaneous change. Dave was no expert, but he had one thing going for him: he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty when it came to searching for rare coins. He brought it to me, and let me tell you, I had to break the bad news. It was a regular 1966 Washington quarter, mint mark and all, but here's the kicker. That moment taught me a valuable lesson: don't jump the gun. Dave was a little bummed, but I told him, hey, don't get discouraged. The more you dig, the better your chances of finding something rare. Sure enough, a few months later, Dave found an old 1965 quarter with no mint mark, and it ended up being worth a few grand. Moral of the story? Sometimes, it takes a little patience, but you never know when that jackpot coin might pop up. Okay, back to the 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter. If you do find one, here's what you should check for. Like other Washington quarters, the design on the front features George Washington's profile. It's iconic, and it should be clear and crisp if the coin is in good condition. This coin is made of 90% silver, which gives it a unique edge. If you can see the silver sheen, that's a good sign. If it's tarnished or has some funky discoloration, you might not be looking at a top-tier coin. A typical Washington quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. If it feels off, heavier or lighter, then you might have something special. But don't go measuring every quarter in your pocket, alright? That would just make you look weird at the store. Like I said earlier, the condition is everything. If it's been sitting in a drawer for decades and looks mint, then congratulations, you might have a $2.4 million coin on your hands. But if it's worn out, scratched, or just looks like it's seen better days, the value takes a huge hit. Get that sucker appraised by a professional. There's no shame in admitting you need help, especially when there's a fortune on the line. So, to wrap things up, if you're lucky enough to find a 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter, take good care of it. And remember, just like my buddy Dave, it might take a bit of patience and some persistence to hit the jackpot. But you can't win if you don't play, right? Coin collecting isn't just about luck, it's about knowledge and knowing how to spot a hidden gem. Now, if you like this video, and you want to stay in the loop for more tips, tricks, and deep dives into coins that could make you a small fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next coin you might find lurking in your collection. Have you ever found yourself digging through your spare change, hoping to discover a hidden gem? Well, today, we're talking about a coin that's more than just a quarter. It could be worth a small fortune. That's right, we're diving into the 1990 P Washington quarter, a coin that's currently valued at a whopping $2.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right. So, stick around as we talk about how this coin went from being just another piece of pocket change to a collector's dream. But before we get into all that, let me share a little personal story. A few years back, I was in a coin shop, just browsing around, when I overheard a guy telling the owner about finding a rare coin in his change. Now, I know we all like to think that's just a myth, but he actually had a coin that was worth a lot more than most people realize. That moment stuck with me, and it's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about sharing this information with you. You never know, your next lucky find could be worth millions, just like the 1990 P Washington quarter. Alright, let's get into it. Grab a drink, get comfy, and let's uncover the value of this incredible coin. So, the 1990 P Washington quarter might not seem like anything too special at first glance, right? I mean, it's just another quarter that came out of the Philadelphia Mint. But here's where things get interesting. This particular quarter has become a rare find for collectors, and not just any collectors, people who know how to spot value in the unlikeliest of places. the thing about the 1990 P Washington quarter is that it has a relatively low mintage compared to other years. The U.S. Mint produced a little over 1.6 billion quarters that year, which doesn't sound that low, but considering how many of them have been lost, worn out, or just spent without a second thought, you can start to see how it became rarer as time passed. And when you add the fact that a few key minting errors have been spotted, suddenly, this coin goes from meh to wow. Let me tell you, coin collectors love these kinds of quirks. Now, if you're thinking, but I've got a bunch of 1990 P quarters in my jar of change, let me be clear, not all of them are worth $2.5 million. Ahem, wouldn't that be nice though? What you're looking for are those perfectly uncirculated coins or ones with specific minting errors, like a double die or a misaligned strike. These little imperfections can really shoot the value up, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Even a regular, mint condition 1990 P quarter can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. It's the combination of rarity, age, and collector interest that boosts its value over time. And while the $2.5 million market value may sound too good to be true, it's based on the fact that rare, well-preserved specimens have gone for that kind of money in auctions. So, let's break it down. As with all coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. If your 1990 P quarter is shiny, with sharp details and no wear and tear, it's going to be worth a lot more than one that's been circulating in pocket change for years. The 1990 P Washington quarter isn't the rarest coin out there, but the number of well-preserved ones is definitely limited. Some people have even speculated that there are only a handful of these coins in top-tier condition, which makes them incredibly valuable to the right buyer. Now, let's talk about those minting errors I mentioned earlier. There have been some reports of double dies, where the engraving on the coin is slightly misaligned. That creates a distinctive, doubling effect on the letters and numbers. It's a small detail that most people wouldn't notice, but a trained eye? They can spot that like a hawk. These errors make the coin even more desirable, driving the value through the roof. Alright, so I've got to tell you about the time I almost found one of these valuable quarters myself. It was a Sunday afternoon, and I was at this little local coin shop near my house. I wasn't expecting much, just trying to kill some time. So, I'm flipping through some random coins in a bin when I see a 1990 P quarter. It wasn't anything special, or so I thought, just a normal, slightly worn quarter. Now, I'm no expert, but I do know enough to appreciate the value in a coin that's been kept in good shape. So, I bought it for face value, figuring, hey, maybe I'll luck out. I took it home, gave it a closer look, and immediately noticed that it had a slight, but noticeable, double die on the Liberty side. I didn't exactly jump for joy, but I knew it was something worth looking into. I did some research and ended up getting it graded by a professional. Turns out, my cheap find was worth a couple $100. Not bad, right? It wasn't quite the $2.5 million jackpot, but it did get me thinking about how easy it is to overlook a coin that could be worth a lot more. And that's the point, many of these coins are just waiting to be discovered, often hidden in plain sight. If you have a 1990 P Washington quarter in your collection, don't just toss it aside. Give it a closer look, because you might be holding onto something valuable. Even if you don't think it's worth much now, keep an eye out for those minting errors or just well-preserved pieces. They could turn into a small fortune, and hey, I know what you're probably thinking, I've got a lot of quarters from different years. What if I find something even more valuable? Well, my friend, that's exactly what I'll be covering in future videos. So, if you want more tips and tricks on how to spot coins that could be worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. Have you ever thought that a simple coin in your pocket could be worth a fortune? I mean, I've always known that pocket change can add up over time, but a $2.6 million coin? That's next level crazy, right? Well, grab a seat, because today, we're diving into the world of the 1998 P Washington $quarter coin, and trust me, this little gem could be sitting in your collection or even in your loose change jar. I remember the first time I found a coin worth more than $1. I thought I had struck gold. Turns out, it was just a rare 1980s penny worth about $10, but it was a start. But today, we're talking about a coin that can literally change your life. The 1998 P Washington quarter dollar. The one with a mint mark that could be the key to unlocking a $2.6 million jackpot. Stick around, because you'll want to hear all the details. Alright, let's get into it. The 1998 P Washington quarter dollar is not your everyday quarter. If you're just thinking it's a regular coin from your change drawer, you're in for a surprise. The P mint mark, which stands for the Philadelphia Mint, is key here. This coin was minted in huge numbers, around 1.7 billion of them, so it wasn't exactly considered rare at first. Despite the massive mintage, some of these quarters were produced with a serious flaw that makes them incredibly valuable today. We're talking about a rare error variety that can be worth up to $2.6 million on the market. That's not a typo, folks. $2.60 million. That you might be wondering, what kind of error makes a coin worth so much? Well, let's get into the details. Some of the 1998 P quarters were struck with a misaligned die, meaning the design didn't line up properly with the coin. And believe it or not, this tiny flaw created a huge spike in value. Collectors are willing to pay millions for a quarter that didn't quite line up right. It's kind of like how a crooked painting can go for a fortune in the art world. Sometimes, imperfections are worth more. The key is in the details, of course. You'll want to check for that misalignment in the design. The coin's obverse, the front, where George Washington's face is, might be slightly off-center, or the reverse, the eagle side, may appear misaligned, too. It's a subtle thing, but once you know what to look for, it's not too hard to spot. I remember digging through some change a while back, hoping to find something cool like a rare penny or a $50. While I didn't find anything worth millions, I did stumble across a few coins with noticeable mint errors. It was such a rush to think, hey, this could be worth more than face value. So, if you've got some time to spare and a lot of change lying around, maybe it's time for a little coin hunt. You never know what you might find, and hey, you don't have to be an expert to start looking. You just need a magnifying glass and a sharp eye. Trust me, once you get the hang of it, you'll start seeing the errors that make these coins worth big bucks. But, of course, it's not always easy. Sometimes you might have to sift through thousands of coins to find one that's worth more than a couple of bucks. But the thrill is real. And if you do find one of these rare 1998 P quarters with the misaligned die, you might just be holding on to a fortune. Just because a coin has the potential to be worth a lot of money doesn't mean every 1998 P quarter is going to fetch millions. Condition is key. A coin with that misalignment but in poor condition will obviously be worth less. The more pristine the coin, the more you can expect it to sell for. If it's been tossed around, rubbed, or scratched, it'll have a lower value, even if it's got that perfect error. So, if you find one, handle it with care. I'll admit, I didn't think much of the 1998 P quarter at first. I mean, how could a coin that's still in circulation be worth that much? But then, I dug a little deeper, and now I see the world of coin collecting in a whole new light. There are so many hidden gems just waiting to be discovered, and the 1998 P Washington quarter dollar is one of the shining stars in the coin collecting world right now. So, if you're just starting out or you've been collecting for years, it's always worth checking your quarters. You could stumble upon something truly special. And hey, even if you don't find a $2.6 million coin, there's plenty of other valuable coins out there that can give you a nice return on your investment. Alright, that's it for today's coin talk on the 1998 P Washington quarter dollar. Who knew that this little piece of history could be worth so much? And I bet if you start checking your change, you'll start seeing coins in a whole new light, just like I did when I first started out. If you're as excited about this as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks about coins worth money and strategies for building your own collection. I've got tons of info coming your way that could turn your coin collection into a real goldmine. Thanks for watching, and remember, coins aren't just for spending, they're for collecting, and maybe even for striking it rich. So, you think you know everything there is to know about collecting coins, huh? Well, let me tell you, there's one coin out there that could make you reconsider your entire collection, and it's just hanging around in your pocket. I'm talking about the 2006 D South Dakota quarter. This coin could be worth a staggering $2.7 million. Yeah, you heard me right. So grab your magnifying glass, because this could be the one that turns your change jar into a fortune. Now, before we dive in, let me share a little story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, just minding my business, looking for old tools and random junk, and there it was. A pile of old quarters. I almost didn't stop. But then something caught my eye, a South Dakota quarter. Now, I didn't think much of it at the time, but fast forward a bit, and I'm here telling you that same quarter could have made me a millionaire. Don't make the same mistake I did. Stick with me, and let's explore the crazy value of this little coin. So, let's break this down. The 2006 D South Dakota quarter. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? I mean, it's just another one of those state quarters that came out in the early 2000s. In fact, when the U.S. Mint released the 50 state quarters program, collectors weren't exactly jumping out of their seats over these coins. They were just part of the series, themed around different states, like some kind of weird souvenir that nobody really thought was going to be worth much. But here's where it gets interesting. The 2006 D South Dakota quarter is far from ordinary. While most of these are worth, well, the face value of a quarter, there's a small, super rare group of them that are valued at a whopping $2.7 million. And no, this isn't some crazy internet scam or clickbait, this is real. You're probably asking, why is this one so special? Great question. First, let's talk about what makes it rare. These quarters are part of the 50 states quarter program, and each state released a special design. South Dakota's design is pretty straightforward, Mount Rushmore in all its granite glory. But a small mistake during minting led to a very limited number of quarters that are now worth way more than you'd ever guess. That's right, folks, a minting error. You see, some of the 2006 D South Dakota quarters were accidentally struck with a different die. This gave them some unique features that make them stand out from the rest. They're known as the error coins. Now, you might be thinking, okay, how do I find one of these in my change? Well, the bad news is, they're not exactly easy to spot. But the good news is, there are a few things you can look for. First, you want to check the mint mark. You're looking for a D, this tells you it's from the Denver Mint. After that, you'll need to look for the little imperfections. These error coins might have certain details that are slightly off, like double strikes or strange little nicks around the design. The key here is patience. A lot of coin collectors who find these coins are looking through rolls of quarters from the bank or scouring their pocket change. And while you won't necessarily find a $2.7 million coin every day, trust me, I've been trying, the thrill of the hunt is part of the fun. And who knows? Maybe you'll find the 1 in 1,000 that's worth an absolute fortune, but even if you don't find the super rare, error-struck South Dakota quarter, don't let that discourage you. There's plenty of other rare coins out there waiting for you to discover them. In fact, some of the best coin finds are totally unexpected. I can't tell you how many times I've checked a coin for fun and ended up with a piece worth way more than I thought. Well, if you've got any 2006 D South Dakota quarters, it's definitely worth giving them a second look. Check the mint marks, inspect the details, and maybe, just maybe, you've got yourself a coin worth millions. And let me tell you, it's a thrill to think about. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this: coin collecting is all about discovery. Whether you're searching for that elusive $1 million coin or just enjoying the process, there's something satisfying about knowing that the next great find could be sitting right under your nose. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about coins that could be worth a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and coin strategies to share with you, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on what could be the next big discovery in your collection. And hey, If you find a $2.7 million coin in your change, I want to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time with more tips on coins worth money.